guys, Rich from GunTortureTest.com. We're on our way across town to talk to my buddy Eric, who is going to take part in the High Point IDPA Challenge 2011. Now, what is the High Point IDPA Challenge 2011, you ask? Well, it's pretty simple. A couple weeks ago, I was over at Eric's store, and every time I'm over there, he really has no problem at all giving me a hard time because I sell high points. I'm a big fan of High Point. I think for what they are, they're absolutely perfect. I have no problem saying so. I'm an advocate for High Point in general. If you've ever seen any of my posts on Reddit.com in our guns, you'll know what I mean. So a couple weeks ago, I was over there at Eric's store, and like I said, as usual, he was giving me a hard time for selling high points. And I told him, I said, you know what? One of these days, I'm going to shoot an IDPA match with a High Point C9, which is a 9mm version. And I am going to place in the top 10. And he said, well, I bet you I can place in the top 5 with a High Point. Now, Eric is actually Eric Fuson, who is a Wilson Combat sponsored shooter. He is nationally ranked and holds several state championships in various states, not just in Oklahoma. Although here in Oklahoma, we do have some of the best shooters in the country, and you know, that's just a fact of life. Oops, I need to change lanes. Don't try this at home, kids. So I looked at him and I said, really? You will? And he said, yeah. I said, you're serious? And he said, yep, sure am. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll provide the gun, I'll provide the magazines, I'll provide the holster, and you provide the skill. Now, the whole point behind this is to show people that it's not the gun, it's the operator. That in the hands of a skilled operator, any gun can be made to do anything you want. And what we want to do, what we hope to do, is to show up some of these guys who show up to especially some of these club level matches with, you know, $2,000 race guns, to show them that they don't need to spend, you don't need to spend that kind of money. You don't. If you want to get into shooting IDPA and stuff like that, the whole point is to show you in a defensive situation what your gun is capable of in your hands. So it's more a test of you, the operator, than it is of the gun. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous about this. I've got a lot of rounds down a High Point, and so far it has done nothing but go bang every single time I press the trigger. That being said, I've never put the High Point that I have for testing through this kind of stress. Shooting at paper targets is a lot different than what we're going to be doing with this. So hopefully it all turns out well. Here in a few minutes, when I get over to Eric's store, you'll meet him, and I'll see if I can get him to get on camera a little bit and tell you a little bit about himself, and give you, you know, tell you why he's doing it. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. We'll see you here in a few minutes. So,
Jana, call Gabby, please, Jana.
Introduce yourself, tell us about yourself, and explain to us how this came about.
This was a dare. A dare to shoot a High Point 9mm at a local IDPA club level match. As long as it'll go bang, it'll work. It's not that difficult to shoot targets at 15 yards with whatever platform you have. So if you've got something that is somewhat capable of firing, it can be used as a defensive tool, no matter what it is. So
even the high points that you give me a hard time about selling,
we will see. We will see exactly how effective it is when we shoot this at the match.
Okay, fair enough. For some background for some of my viewers who might not know who you are, why don't you run down a little bit of what you've done? I did a little bit earlier, but it's always better coming from a horse's mouth.
Well, I'm a 4-gun IDPA Master, a 1-gun IDPA Distinguished Master. I'm a Master Class USPSA shooter in all the pistol divisions except for open. I've competed in more than 70 state, regional, and national championships, and have a national ranking in some divisions as high as top 10 in the nation. So I shoot a lot. I'm an instructor, firearms instructor. I teach with the Defensive Shooting Academy. And more important, I'm just a firearms enthusiast. It doesn't matter what kind of firearm it is. If I get the opportunity to test something, I always shoot it. I've shot a high point before. This will be the first chance I've ever had to shoot a high point at an actual match atmosphere where you've got multiple targets, target transitions, shooting on the move, shooting from cover. It'll be a good test not only for me and how I can do with a gun that I'm completely unfamiliar with, but also whether the gun will actually accept it. Shooting at a single paper target on a single range, slow fire, won't tell you whether or not the gun's going to work in a combat situation.
Very true.
Shooting from odd positions, shooting when you're under stress and under duress, around corners and over barricades and under barricades and all that stuff, with sometimes an improper grip on the gun will let you know real fast whether the gun's actually going to perform when you need it.
So, being as how you're sponsored by Wilson and you primarily shoot single stack, you see this being a benefit, or what? Because the high points are single stack guns.
I see it as a morbid curiosity.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Kurt, you want to chime in on this?
It's always the man behind the gun. It's never the gun. Eric will surprise quite a few people shooting that high point.
I firmly believe that he's going to at least place top 3. Firmly.
If the gun functions every time, he'll. If there's 50 shooters, he'll come in the top 6 or 7.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I see no reason why it won't function, but granted, I've never shot a match with one either. Okay, I mean, I've done a lot with them, but
and neither has anybody else that I've ever seen. So it'd be
no, this is the first. You know, this is the High Point IDPA Challenge 2011, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Now, this is at Oil Capital.
Oil Capital, Rodney.
Okay, so that's down in BA.
Yeah, between Broken Arrow.
Right. All right. Cool. Thanks, man.
Well, there you have it. May 28th, 2011. Down there at Oil Capital in Broken Arrow. Well, it's Tulsa, but we call it Broken Arrow. Eric Fuson is going to shoot an IDPA club level match with a high point C9. And we'll see what happens. If the gun's up to it, it's going to be great. If the gun's not up to it, we'll find out. We'll see if my faith is misplaced in high point. Until then, we'll see you later. This is Rich from GunTortureTest.com.